What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, we're back for another episode of Survivor Season 50. We're here at episode 4, moving along through the early parts of this game. Now, last week, unfortunately, Q did end up going home. We had the tribe swap as well. So, like we said at the time, some players may be put in a better position, some maybe not. But before we do jump into the Zach Brown filled episode of Survivor, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Survivor 50 content on the channel all throughout the season, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we'll head back to kind of the end of the last episode, going into this one and back to camp. Stephanie was the only one left out of the vote, and back at camp, kind of thanking everyone for allowing her to still be there and not voting her out. Obviously, her and Q were kind of working together, and obviously she was the only one that did not vote for Q at the last tribal council. But they know that this could be bad, voting out someone like Q, who was obviously strong in challenges, and they know that they could be right back here. But Ozzy and Emily now want to go after Angelina. Now, obviously, Ozzy wanted to go after Angelina last week. Emily was able to convince him to go after Q instead. We head to the next day, and over at the Orange Tribe, the boys are putting on a talent show, and the one, the only, the RIZ Riz God Baby wins the talent show. Charlie is still a little miffed, I guess you could say, about hearing Rizzo saying he didn't vote for his number one ally to win the game last season. We get a shout out to Liz Wilcox with how Charlie is feeling as well. But over at the Teal Tribe, Genevieve is braiding Coach's hair. Aubrey is out searching for an idol, it seems like, even though she already has an idol. She has the Billie Eilish Boomerang idol that she was gifted. Genevieve goes out looking for her, and I do not like this attitude from Aubrey towards Genevieve. Not at all. If you've watched 2 seconds of my channel, you know that we are big Genevieve stands, and Genevieve is my winner pick of this season. So, don't like the energy coming from Aubrey. But Genevieve also is like, if she's looking for something, I want to look for something too. So she ends up meandering around, and what do you know? She finds her second Billie Eilish Boomerang idol. This time she's going to keep it a secret, but she's going to give it to Rizzo. But I don't like this part, though. She wants to give it to Rizzo with possibly the idea to give it to him to set him up to blindside him to get the idol back. So we head to the immunity challenge, which is also going to be the reward challenge. The first tribe will get a once-in-a-lifetime survivor reward. This is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. I'll get to my thoughts after, but special reward is, we know he likes a little bit of chicken fried and a cold beer on a Friday night with a pair of jeans that fit just right. That's right, Zach Brown. Gonna spearfish, grill, hang out, and sing. Back at the sanctuary, too. So, a pretty awesome reward. The first tribe that finishes will get this reward and immunity. Second tribe that finished just gets immunity. Then, obviously, the third tribe, as Jeff says, also known as the losers, will be going to tribal council. For this challenge, Cherie and Genevieve will set out for their respective tribes. Teal wins by a couple seconds, like 25, 30 seconds, maybe, and it might have even been a little closer. The Orange Tribe was right there, and you feel bad for, everyone wanted this reward, obviously, this opportunity, but for the people that were actually, huge fans of Zach Brown, like Dee mentioned how big, Zach Brown was to her and how much this meant to her. So feel bad for Dee, and obviously we love Dee as well, so she was obviously upset about that, but the Teal Tribe wins immunity, gets this big time reward, and Pink is going back. The Pink Tribe, is going back to Tribal Council. And over at the reward, the Teal Tribe enjoying some drinks and chips with a little bit of chicken fried playing in the background. Zach caught 2 incredibly huge fishes, and he makes a real nice spread. And they're kind of just sitting around talking, chatting about the game, and life, how Zach got into, liking Survivor and everything. And he's like, I feel like I know all you guys. I've watched all the seasons and whatnot. He sings some music for them, and for sure a memory maker for everyone there. Now, before we head into the next part, everyone's hot take opinion on the Zach Brown, portion, the celebrities involved in this season. This was something, if we go back to the end of Survivor 49, when we saw the first preview for this season, I was someone who was like, do not like all of the Survivor cameo, whatever that they were teasing. I thought the Billie Eilish, the Boomerang Idol thing, I know it's been kind of a running joke that you gotta say that the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol, the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol, that you gotta say it multiple times. I thought it was fine. It's not like incredibly changing the game or, I don't know the right word, but like affecting the game in any way. I thought that was good. It was like named after her, maybe something that an idea that she had. I forget if Jeff has came out and said that was her idea. I know this one he was very specific, saying this was all Zach's idea for the reward and what to do and whatnot. But I thought the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol is fine. It's a really cool idea for an idol. If they didn't have the celebrity name on it, like I think most people would think like, hey, this is a pretty cool thing. So I think that was fine. I think the Zach Brown thing was, for the most part, pretty cool. I know it might not be some people's cup of tea. I will say I feel like we got a few more, which I know is starting to become a running joke, even just here, not even an hour after the episode aired. But a lot of confessionals for Zach Brown. I think more than a handful of um, castaways right now. Zach has got a few more confessionals, which you don't want to see. That some of that could have been cut out, but I do think this was cool. And it seems like it was a real memory maker for everyone out there. So, you know, I think it was good. Could have maybe cut down on the confessionals a little bit. Didn't need I feel like even just cutting down on the like spearfishing part, like you could have just had a couple clips of him doing it, and maybe like just him showing that with the clip of Joe saying, "How'd you get into Survivor?" Whatever. And him explaining that, so it's not like, oh, why is this just random celebrity out here? I felt like that probably would have, been a little bit better, and people might not have been might have been as reactionary as they are. But overall, I did not think it was horrible. Just could have cut down a few of the confessionals. But over at the Orange Tribe, they're definitely going through it. But the most important thing is that they're safe. But they are missing out on this Memory Maker reward. Dee, especially, as she, mentioned, Zach Brown music has, got her through a lot of stuff in her life. But most important thing is they're safe. But obviously, being that close to winning a reward, no matter what the reward is, it is tough. Rizzo finds his idol in his bag from Genevieve, the Billie Eilish Boomerang idol. Now, we know the RIZGOD, Riz God Baby, loves making moves with an idol at Tribal, so we'll see if he tries to pull any of that. I'm curious. Over at the Pink Tribe, now back at camp, it seems like Angelina could be a target given that Ozzy wanted her out and Emily wants to keep Ozzy happy. Ozzy tells Christian and Mike that, wants to get Angelina out. And Mike says Angelina isn't a threat to win this game. She's a number. But Ozzy wants to pull Angelina away from Mike. Mike tries to work his magic to do Operation Save Angelina. Pitches Emily, should I say, to Stephanie about getting her out. Him, Angelina, Stephanie, and Christian would vote for Emily. So that's 4. That's all you need. While Mike, Angelina, and Christian are talking, Mike tells Angelina the plan is her. But Mike said, hey, he's trying to flip the vote to Emily. But Christian has been with Emily since the beginning. He doesn't want to do this. Christian is like this double whammy of terrible. You have your friend from your season, David versus Goliath, and Angelina. And obviously Mike, too, now associated. They're all on the same season. But in terms of potential of going home, you have your friend from your season of Survivor and Angelina. Then you have someone that you've worked with from the beginning of this game, essentially, of Survivor 50. But Mike can tell Christian doesn't want to vote out Emily. But he brings up this feels like a little like the Gabby situation from Christian's season, where we saw the flashbacks and, where Gabby and Christian were close, playing the game together, and then she tried to get Christian out. But, Christian was able to not go home. I forget, I think it was Davey playing the idol Christian played the idol for himself that time, or Davey played it. I forget exactly what happened, but he didn't go home. Gabby did come after Christian, and he didn't go home. And Christian was like, he actually got emotional kind of talking about it. And it was like, it was a smart move, like whatever, but he did get emotional thinking back to it. And Christian is like, Mike is very convincing, and, he's dangerous, and he knows the right chord to get as, we said it made Christian get a little bit emotional thinking back on this. And, he knows where to put the dagger, as Christian says. So now Christian is like, Mike's the most dangerous person on the beach. I'm going to flip the vote to Mike. So the plan that he wants to do is him, Stephanie, and Emily put 3 votes on Mike. He talks to Stephanie first about this. Then Mike and Angelina would vote for Emily, as they wanted to do, and flip the vote there. And then Ozzy would still vote for Angelina because they don't want to bring Ozzy in because he is close with Mike. And then they make a joke about, which we heard Jeff kind of joking about this preseason about, hey, people wanting a cameo on White Lotus and whatnot. But Emily doesn't want to leave Ozzy out once Christian brings her in on the plan. Emily doesn't want to leave Ozzy out because he helped her with the Q vote. So Stephanie, Christian, Emily, they're sitting at the camp, and Ozzy comes over. Emily's like, come here. Ozzy comes over. Emily's like, hey, Mike's flipping the vote on me. Christian gets up and is like, what? What are we doing? And he's like standing behind Ozzy. He's like, zip it. Like, like this is your life, essentially, as he's saying. But Christian is like, maybe Emily is the right move. Especially, spilling the beans about the idol. Once they flip the tribes and whatnot, and then this, and so he's like, is it the right move to maybe go after Emily? But says, Mike knows where to twist that dagger, as we said. So we had the tribal council. We didn't know. We didn't get the Zach Brown, experience, as they said, but we got Ozzy catching not 7, 8 fish after that tough challenge. Old relationships you got out there, obviously David versus Goliath, group, and then the new relationships that are forming in this game in 50. This could provide a test of trust for those new alliances, if you will, and relationships. Mike is talking about his profession being somewhat of a con artist of having a dream and kind of making that dream come to reality, or making people believe in that dream until he can put it all together and show a finished product. And kind of relating that to the game. And Emily says that she's having a sinking feeling sitting here at Tribal, and the vibes were kind of off. It seemed like I don't know if it's just how they edited it, but after something Christian said. But either way, we're going to get to the vote. And we get to the vote, 3 votes on Mike, 2 votes on Emily, 1 vote on Angelina. Just as Christian laid it out, it all worked out. But unfortunately, that means Mike White will be going home. And he's got to have some amazing ideas for White Lotus. I know that's a running joke, but gotta have some amazing jokes going for White Lotus now, and some inspiration, probably. But Ozzy is upset, though, and Christian says, as they're walking to get their torches, like, I'll catch you up. Ozzy's like, too late. So we head to the preview for next week, and Ozzy is upset still, as we can see. Both losing tribes will go to Tribal Council, which we knew this was going to have to start happening here eventually, start dwindling down these numbers with such a big cast. And then Charlie versus Rizzo. I was afraid that this was coming over the last episode or 2. And Operation Bad Blood, Rizzo says. I don't like it. I like them both. I want them both to stay. They're 2 of my favorite players from the new era, and it seems like they're coming after each other, unfortunately. But, yeah, that's episode 4. Really, I've kind of said it throughout the early parts of the season. Really like how things are going. I do think, right now, I think Christian is getting an incredible at it. Devins was getting an incredible at it with Christian. We haven't seen a lot of Devins the last, 2, this episode specifically, because I feel like I know it was kind of a joke, but this was the Zach Brown and David versus Goliath episode, I guess. But I'm curious where things go, especially now next week with two tribes going to Tribal Council, so 2 people going home. And kind of how much longer we go before we get everyone on the same beach. I imagine still probably 2 or 3 episodes. Yeah, I do think right now Christian is definitely controlling the narrative so far of the early part of this season. We'll see if that keeps up, or if Ozzy's a little miffed after being left out of this Tribal Council. So yeah, we'll just have to see. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. We'll be back next week with another recap. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.